skill. First snap, I lay your backs in the backfield. Your quarterback scared, I see it in his eyes. Sent the receiver in motion, that's just a disguise. My linebackers, they stepping up. Clog the hole, no letting up. Taking on them big blocks. On fourth down, we get big stops. My secondary is balling out. Your offense keeps stalling out. How many yards? Like none at all. Come special teams, come punt the ball and it's gone. And you never see me fair catch. I get a block and then I'm gone like a Lear jet. My helmet on, pass strap tight. My jersey shining in them Friday night lights. Win.
Witherspoon Insurance of Shelby pregame show on ktcbroadcasting.com with Kevin Hastings and Dennis Davis. And then, of course, JP.
Of course.
Yeah, without me, there's no show. Come on. Think about it.
You make it happen, JP.
I push the buttons. I make sure y'all are heard.
There you go.
Like the shot heard around the world. I make sure y'all sound good.
Do what, JP?
No one listens to me on the show.
JP said something about he's going to shoot us around the world.
That's all we had. That's why. What, JP? What'd you say? Say something important. Well, good to see you, JP. It's been a week.
Yeah.
And so, as always, we're ready for another Friday night scoreboard show. And I don't know. I think I've got these things wrong on the internet. So, the folks on the internet, I'm going to stop the stream and get back to you in just a minute. But for the folks on the radio, we're still going to stay right here. Dennis, we got broadcast night games. You want to go ahead and start talking about some of the games tonight? Once I switch over for the folks on YouTube,
I'll be happy
I'm
to,
going to sign
Kevin.
off and refresh your page in about 1 minute.
We can talk about those games. The Fred T. Ford Tigers. The St. Stephen's Indians are taking on the Statesville Greyhounds, and the North Lincolnton Knights are taking on the West Iredell Warriors. Forest View's Jaguars play the South Point Red Raiders. East Lincoln Mustangs are taking on North Iredell Raiders. Freedom Patriots are playing the Watauga Pioneers. The High Brighton Panthers travel to Alexander Central. Lake Norman Charter is taking on Pine Lake Prep, and the McDowell Titans are playing the Irwin Warriors tonight. Brevard Blue Devils play the Hendersonville Bearcats. Chase Trojans are taking on the Patton Panthers. East Surrey Cardinals play West Wilkes Blackhawks. The North Surrey Greyhounds are taking on the Surrey Central Eagles. Madison Patriots play the Mountain Heritage Cougars. North Wilkes Falcons play the Forbush Falcons. The Robbinsville Black Knights are traveling over to the Andrews Wildcats. Swain County Maroon Devils take on the Murphy Bulldogs. Avery County Vikings are taking on the Owen Warhorses. The Mount Airy Granite Bears are playing the Elkin Bucking Elk. Albemarle Bulldogs encounter the Union County Cardinals, and the Rossman Tigers take on the Mitchell Mountaineers. And we'll have all those scores right here on KTC Broadcasting, Kevin.
We hope so. We hope so. We hope so. Let's see, Dennis. We are ready for this week's Power Poll. Shannon will be here in just a few minutes.
Yep.
So we'll go ahead and do this. When he gets here, he can give us his Power Poll before we get into the games this week. For the folks on the radio, we do broadcast this show every week live on YouTube. For the folks on YouTube, hey, we're just now getting our cameras up and going the right way. I had a slight malfunction on my fault. Hit the wrong button, didn't this? Was on the wrong channel for a minute. But we are ready to rock now. So, folks, if you're not familiar with our power, it's not a poll. There's no voting. There's no opinions. There's no...
just the facts, man.
It's a weighted standings. Is the best way to put it. We give them power points, teams points for victories, and we take away points for losses. So there at the bottom, if you're watching online, let me point this way. Right about here is the explanation.
That's pretty good.
For the
You're like a weather girl. You can point to the green screen.
It's going to rain right here. 4 points for a 4A victory, 3 for a 3, 2 for a 2, 1 for a 1. It's simple. How do you lose points? Well, when you lose a game, you lose points. You lose 0 points for a 4A loss. You lose 3 points. 1 point for a 3A loss. You lose 2 points for a 2. You lose 3 points for a 1A loss. So, 39 is Highland Tech, 38 Jefferson, 37 West Caldwell, 36 East Rutherford. Where are these schools ranked from? How about the teams? Our teams are Gaston, Lincoln, Cleveland, and Rutherford counties, plus the teams in their conferences, Dennis. So we rank all the teams in those, and we got 6 conferences.
But Kevin, that pretty much covers the football world as we know.
Pretty much everybody that can hear our voice here on the western side of the river. Number 35 Patton, number 34 Bessemer City, number 33 Ford, number 32 North Gaston, and 31 East Burke. We have them tonight on LincolnCounty.com against West Lincoln. David Potter and Zach May will have that game. Number 30 Cherville. They'll be on the radio tonight on 92.9, 1590 AM with Matt and Danny. But if you want to watch that game, folks, you can watch that game. That is on YouTube as well with Tom and Matt. Now, remember, if you're listening to it, that's the Cherville broadcast. If you're watching it, that's the Burns broadcast. So don't get mad about people pulling for their team.
People don't call us and complain
about those Burns announcers. So if you are watching it, that's just forewarning. That's what you'll be listening to.
But if you're a Burns person, tune in Tom and Matt, and you'll like what they've got to say.
Now we've got let's see. Up
29 Mountain Island.
Mountain Island Charter, 29, 28 North Iredale, 27 West Iredale, 26 Bandies. All those teams have negative power points. Negative points on the year. With 0 at 25 is Kramer. At 24 with 0 is RS Central. 21 St. Stephen's, Newton Conover. At 22 and 23 with 1 power point. And sorry, I've said that wrong. 23 St. Stephen's, 22 Newton Conover. And number 21 is North Lincoln with 2 power points. They lost a tiebreaker with East Gaston. And Dennis, I'll let you take 20 through 16 there.
All right, let's get to the ones that have moved up and are in the top 20. At number 20, we have the East Gaston Warriors. Their record is 5-3. They have 2 power points, and they've given up 150 points so far. Forest View, their record is 3-5. They have 3 power points, and they've given up 234 points so far.
So, Dennis, there's an example for the folks who want to see how different, how it's weighted. Forest View at 3-5, playing all those 3A games, has 1 more point than East Gaston at 5-3, playing all 2As and 1As.
And that's how we do it, folks. It's like Kevin said, it's a weighted scale based on who you play and did you beat them or did you not beat them. At number 18, we have the Polk Central High School team at 4-4 with 3 power points.
Now we have them on Waggy tonight, Dennis. We've got East Rutherford at Polk County tonight with Paul Foster is back this week and Jonathan Bland.
Well, that's good. I like to hear Paul. He's a real professional. At number 17, we have Brevard at 4-4 with 3 power points. They've given up 160 points. There we've got 2 teams talking about comparisons. Brevard and Polk both have the same record, but Brevard's ranked ahead of them because they've given up fewer points.
They're giving up 20 points a game as opposed to Polk County giving up almost 30 points a game.
And Hunter Huss is number 16. They're 3-5 with 5 power points, and they've given up 242 points.
And they're tied with the rivals Ashbrook at number 15. Now, we'll have highlights of Ashbrook tonight at Kings Mountain for you folks here on the postgame show and during the Red Zone channel. We'll have some scores from that game. They're 3-5, 5 power points, same as Huss, but they've given up 159. Huss given up 242. Crest is at Huss tonight. We'll have that highlights from there too from Rob Root tonight, Dennis.
Yep.
So we've got highlights from all of our and scores from all of our Cleveland County teams tonight, plus Maiden and Lincolnton. Lincolnton is number 14 tonight. They're 5-3. Dennis 2 points away from being undefeated in the conference, and 5 power points total. They've given up 164 points on the season. They win the tiebreaker over Ashbrook with the better record. Them and Shelby at 5-3, but Shelby gets the tiebreaker over Lincolnton for the 13th spot with 5 points, 154 points given up in 8 games. Number 12, Hendersonville, 6-2 on the season, 10 power points. They've got in one more victory. So just an example on just playing in that different conference there, Dennis. One more victory than Shelby. Hendersonville has twice as many points. It's just
there you go.
That 1A, 2A split.
But they've still only given up 140 points.
Right. They've only and that's pretty good for a Hendersonville team. Usually they're giving up in the 2s by now. West Lincoln tonight on our broadcast, like we said, we'll have them tonight hosting East Burke. They're 6-2. They're number 11 on the season. So recap: 20-11, 20 East Gaston, 19 Forest View, 18 Polk County, 17 Brevard, 16 Huss, 15 Ashbrook, 14 Lincoln, 13 Shelby. Number 12 is Hendersonville, and number 11 the West Lincoln Rebels. Dennis, 10-6.
Well, at number 10, you have the Statesville Greyhounds. They're 5-3. They have 14 power points. They've given up 134 points so far. At number 9, Crest, 6-2 record, 14 power points. They've given up 199 points. At number 8, Burns is 7-1. They've got 14 power points, and they've given up only 79 points. So pretty good defense over there with the Bulldogs.
10 points a game.
Number 7, Bunker Hill. They're 7-1. They have 15 power points, but they've given up 169 points. And at number 6, you have the Chase Trojans. And while they're 8-0, Kevin, they have 15 power points, and they've only given up 89 points. So why are they number 6? Well, Kevin explained that. It's who you play, and, did you win or did you lose? Was it a 1A, 2A, 3A school? So points-wise, Chase comes in at number 6. Mm-hmm. How about the top 5, Kevin?
Top five. Trojans, they've got to work a little bit on their out-of-conference schedule and to improve their rankings. Let's see. Maiden, the Blue Devils tonight. They're hosting the number 14 Lincoln Wolves. Maiden Blue Devils at 7-1, 16 power points on the season. Their only loss to Watauga, a 4A school. Hickory comes in at number 4 at 6-2. They've been reeling off some wins just on a roll here lately, Dennis. 17 power points. The Tornadoes are number 4 in the What's Up Shopper power standings. Number 3, the South Point Red Raiders with 17 power points. They're tied with Hickory in power points, but they got a better record at 7-1. Their only loss, of course, those Kings Mountain Mountaineers. Mountaineers are number 2 at 8-0. Kings Mountain, number 2 at 8-0. They've given up 91 points on the season. Dennis, that's pretty good. Just a little over 11 points a game, 11.5 almost. Pretty good defense. But Dennis, East Lincoln.
Wow. Have they played anybody?
In 8 games, have give up 33 points. East Lincoln's defense, folks, 4 points a game this season.
Well, the question I got, Kevin, are they that good?
Yes.
Or some people say, well, they hadn't played anybody. So what is it?
Yes. They've give up 33.
Very diplomatic.
They've give up 33.
Very
Put it this way, it is. They've given up 33 points this year. Shelby give up 26. Kings might give up 26 to Shelby. So
there you go.
Pretty good season so far for those Mustangs. And oops, I clicked the wrong thing tonight. And then let's see, go to the big room here. Hey,
and
everybody.
the one editorial comment I'll add, Kevin, the number 3 South Point Red Raiders, people were back protesting to the school board this week. You got to change the name. Why? It's not offensive to most of the Native Americans out there, just like the Braves is not offensive. Don't be like the Cleveland Guardians. South Point, stick it out. You've got a good name. You got a good mascot. You're a proud representative to those of the Native Americans who used to live in that area, the Catawbas. I'll drop it at that.
Push come to shove, maybe you just drop the red from it, call them the Raiders. That's what.
There you go.
That's North Iredale's did that. I think there is the logo and all that. All right, now, but speaking of that, Dennis, Belmont beat Holbrook by 1 this week in the Gaston County Middle School championship for the folks that are concerned about that type of thing. We've got standings here, but first we're going to go over, now that we've done our top 10. Shannon's here. Welcome, Shannon.
Oh, this is always interesting.
You want it
Mr. Allen?
now?
You're not ready for it?
Not yet. Well, I can. Yeah.
Can you do it off the top of your head? We can do standings real quick. You want to do standings?
No, we can do this. We can do this.
You sure? All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Shannon. Now you want a minute? I'll let you look at it a minute if you want me to. I go over the standings real quick.
Yeah, go over the standings.
It'll take a minute for me and Dennis to read all these little standings here. Let's see. I've got where's my standings? All right, Dennis. I'm going to try to go through these the best I can.
Sure.
I know that it's kind of small for the folks at home or sitting there watching in the studio on the big screen, but let's see if I can do my best here. All right, so we're going to start in the Southern Piedmont 1A.
Yeah.
2A, Burns 4-0, 7-1 overall. Shelby 4-0, 5-3 overall. East Gaston 3-1, 5-3 overall. Bessemer City 2-3, 2-7 overall. Cherville 1-3, 3-5 overall. Thomas Jefferson 1-4, 1-7 overall. Highland Tech 0-4, 0-8. Now Thomas Jefferson 1-4 in the conference right now. Cherville 1-3, but Jefferson has the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Over Cherville for beating them this week. So we'll see how that ends up there. Go ahead.
I started to say, remember, we've got this week and next week, and then we start getting into the short rows of who's going to make the playoffs and who do they play and where do they go? Do they go on the road or do they get to stay at home? And that's when those tiebreakers and little things that you're talking about can come into effect.
Right. It being 1A, 2A conference, that just throws all kinds of wrenches in that. We'll skip over to the other 1A, 2A real quick. Pine Lake Prep's 8-0, 5-0 in the conference. Community School Davidson 4-0, 7-1 the conference. Christ the King 3-1, 7-1 the conference. Carver 1-3, 2-6. Winston-Salem Prep 1-3, 2-5. Mountain Island Charter 1-4, 3-4. And Bishop McGinnis 0-4, 1-7 in that conference. Over in the South Fork 2A, let's jump to the 2A.
Okay.
Maiden 5-0, 7-1. Bunker Hill 4-1, 7-1 overall. Lincolnton 4-1, 5-3 overall. West Lincoln is 3-2 and 6-2 overall. Bandy's is 2-3 and 3-5 overall. Do what now, Danny? You just walked right by a giant envelope in the front room with your name on it.
Laying in the chair there, Danny.
It's right at the front door there, Danny. I know you can hear me down the hall. Bandy's, I just did them. Newton Conover's 2-3, 3-5 overall. West Caldwell 0-5, 0-8 overall, and East Burke 0-5, 2-6 overall. Over in the Western Foothills 2A, Chase undefeated 4-0 and 8-0. Brevard 3-1, 4-4. Hendersonville 3-1, 6-2. Polk County is 2-2, 4-4. Our Central 2-3, 4-5, and Patton 1-3, 1-7. East Rutherford 0-5, 1-8. So right now we'll get West Caldwell and Highland Tech still looking for their first win. So is North Gaston and Ford, guys. Over in the 3A, Kings Mountain is 5-0, 8-0. South Point 4-1, 7-1. Crest 4-1, 6-2. Forest View 2-3, 3-5. Huss 2-3, 3-5. Ashbrook 2-3, 3-5. Kramer 1-4, 3-5. We said North Gaston 0 for the year, 0-5, 0-8. And finally, the Western Lakes 3A. East Lincoln 5-0, 8-0. Statesville 4-1, 5-3. Hickory 4-1, 6-2. North Lincoln 3-2, 3-5. St. Stephen's 2-3, 3-5. North Iredale 1-4, 1-7. West Iredale 1-4, 1-7. And Ford 0-5, 0-8. So there are your standings, local standings. Shannon, you ready now?
Yeah.
Yes. Shannon's
We've
ready.
all been waiting with bated breath.
I'm on
I
the
bet.
edge
On the edge of your seat.
of our seat. So we're gonna put let's get Shannon's beautiful face here on the scoreboard. So I'm gonna do some on screen editing, folks, because I don't feel like hitting this other button to do it in the background. So that's what you're gonna get for me right now. All right, Shannon. Top 10. Shannon Allen's top 10. Who
All
you
right.
got at number 10?
Number 10 is West Lincoln.
West Lincoln Rebels. They're number 11 overall in ours. They are 6-2, and they've given up 157 points on the season. So West Lincoln moves over into number 10. Is CJ here?
No, he's 6.
I didn't see him. All right, go ahead.
Number 9 is Hickory.
Hickory, the Red Tornadoes in Shannon's bracket dropped from 4 in ours all the way down to number 9. Hickory, the Red Tornadoes, are 6-2 overall, and they've given up 196 points on the season. Shannon?
Number 8 is Chase.
The Chase Trojans. He's got Chase moving.
No. I'm sorry. Number 8 is Maiden.
Maiden.
My bad. Yeah.
You got Maiden.
Maiden, number 8.
Oh, okay.
Moves them back from number 5 to number 8. The Blue Devils on the season, 7-1, 16 points in our power poll. They've given up 159 on the season. Shannon, number 7.
Number 7 is Chase.
Number 7 is Chase.
Yes.
The Trojans in our power poll, number 6. We move them over in Shannon's. Now, this is Shannon's opinion. Okay, folks? So just following along on the radio. You see the top 15 on the right is our power poll. And then Shannon is doing what he thinks is his top 10. So the Chase Trojans at number 7 and Shannon's are 8-0 overall with 89 points given up on the season. All right, Shannon, number 6.
Number 6, South Point.
The South Point Red Raiders dropped from 3 to 6 in Shannon's poll. 7-1 on the season, 117 points on defense. Shannon?
Number 5 is Shelby.
Shelby Golden Lions move up from 13 to 5 in Shannon's power poll. Golden Lions this season 5-3. Shannon, how many of those wins are not 1A?
I don't know how many. 4?
How many? I said how many of those wins are not?
Oh, not 1A.
Not
Oh,
1A.
yeah. Let's see. Probably just 1.
Right.
Yeah.
In non-1A football this year, the Shelby Golden Lions are 1-3. At number 4, Shannon.
There could be some asterisks on that one, but we'll just leave it there. Number 4 is Crest.
Number 4, the Crest Chargers. Chargers coming in at number 4, number 9 in our power poll. 6-2 overall, minus 199.
All right. Number 3, East Lincoln.
Mustangs, not even number 1, not even number 2.
No.
Shannon has a team who's given up 4 points a game over 8 weeks at number 3. Shannon, you want to explain that?
Well, when you play the School of the Deaf and the Blind every week, you're going to be. You're not
you
going to
hear
number 1.
that, East Lincoln folks? All right, so Shelby played High Brighton, did they not?
High Brighton's actually gotten better. That
is Shelby's only non-1A victory this year. They beat High Brighton.
I got a question, Shannon. Do they use a braille football so they know when they've caught it?
He's a beeper, I think.
Okay.
Now, that wouldn't make any sense. High Brighton, Shelby beat High Brighton 57-21. East Lincoln beat High Brighton 36-8.
East Lincoln may be too high in this one. All right, number 2
Too high?
is, yeah.
They only give up 8 points to them. Shelby gave up 3 touchdowns.
It don't matter.
They were having a
that's about how
touchdown
much you
party on the
score.
sideline at High Brighton.
Shelby
against
took out their starters in the second quarter. Come on.
Well, High Brighton took theirs out too.
No, they didn't. All right, number 2 is East Lincoln. No, excuse me. Wait a minute. we're at number 2. Number 2 is Burns.
The Bulldogs moving up from 8 in our power poll, all the way up to 2 for Shannon. So why do you have the Bulldogs ahead of the Mustangs?
Only reason because I've seen Burns play, and I'll tell you what, they've got the team this year that I know they play Shelby next week, but they've got the team this year that could really do some damage in 2A. And if people, and we'll talk about this probably, next couple of weeks, but the loser of that Shelby Burns game, and it could be either one of Shelby or Burns. That's because they're pretty evenly matched, but the loser of that game is going to be, they're going to be a lower seed going into like a Chase or a West Lincoln, or it could, something like that down the road. And Burns is good. Yeah. Burns is really good.
Common opponent, Shannon, East Lincoln and Burns, Forest View. Burns beat Forest View 42-0. East Lincoln beat them 53-0.
I think
Forest View got beat by 95-0.
That was back-to-back weeks, I think.
Probably
1 and 2.
But I go back to what Shannon was talking about. Let's say that Burns beats Shelby next week, just theoretically. Don't get upset, Steve. Agree. You'll be in later tonight. But let's just suppose that Burns
better be on the football field right now.
Burns beats them, and they get the number 1 2A seed. You're looking at Shelby really with their record of who they've played and how many losses they had. You're looking at them going on the road in the first round, probably, Shannon.
Well, maybe not the first, definitely the second round. And it's again, it's teams like that have had great years, like West Lincoln, even Chase. And I saw Chase play last week. But teams like that, I think when you see a team coming in with 4 losses, and that's when people look at these other schools look at a 4-loss team, they're thinking, oh, well, they're having a bad year. But the thing is, the way Shelby's playing now, I mean, I don't know. It's like, no, they're not having a bad year. They had a hiccup at the beginning of the year, but they traditionally get better. Same with Crest, same with Chase. You can look at Chase and say, okay, they're undefeated. Well, why aren't they the number 1 seed? And there's a lot of questions that's going to be, because there was a poll last week. Chase wasn't even ranked in the top 10 in 2A.
Yeah.
And you think, well, is it because of who they haven't played? Rather than who they have played, and because their schedule's really not strong. And I know Kevin mentioned that a while ago. But again, South Point, if South Point loses next week to Crest, or excuse me, Kings Mountain, if they beat Crest next week, Crest is going to sit there. Now they're going to have to travel because they're the number 3 team out of that conference. And it's like, I would hate to see that team coming in because they're a really good football team. I mean, they really are a good football team. And there was a couple of plays at South Point. People don't realize, they said, well, South Point blew Crest out of the water. Well, Crest had the ball inside the 20, I think, 3 times.
Yeah.
He couldn't score. So they could move the ball on them. Again, it doesn't matter as long as you put it in the end zone, but it's still, you see some of these schools out here and you're thinking, wow, they're having a bad year, but people just don't realize, okay, let's look at who they've played. You're not going to have an easy schedule like some of these schools. And I know I mentioned about East Lincoln a while ago, and that was I was just joking about that. But some of these other schools, you have to look at their schedule. And you have to say, okay, they're undefeated for a reason. Are they undefeated because they're really good, or are they undefeated because they haven't played anybody? And I stand with the latter because they really haven't played anybody. And it's just, I don't know. I probably make people mad by saying that, but it's like who you play does matter. And when you get to the seeding in the playoffs, when you are it don't matter what seeding you are, you got to play anyway. I guess, but it's still going to get interesting after next week.
Well, hypothetically, Shannon, I look at these brackets and, you've got the one against the 16, starting out kind of thing. But I'm looking at the middle of that bracket. Let's say you had a Lincolnton, which has had a decent year, and Shelby comes in as the lower ranked team, and they travel over to Lincolnton to take on the Wolves.
Yeah.
Don't be surprised if that lower ranked team wins in a game in that situation.
You're right. And it's like when, and I hate just picking Shelby, but that's who I know. In 2013, I think it's when it was. They played their first game at home, and then they were on the road the rest of the playoffs. And they had to go to Reidsville, won. They had to go to North Rowan and won. And people looked at them and was like, well, they're having a bad year. They're not really that good. No, they beat them both like 40-something to nothing. I mean, it was, yeah, their record may not be the best, but you got to look at who you play.
Yeah.
And who they played at the beginning of the year, where those losses came from. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, this is just for fun, but I know Burns is second, Kings Mountain, obviously the top team in what I think in the area. But again, like Ashbrook last week battled South Point to a pretty competitive ball game. Was it last week?
And to play Kings Mountain toe-to-toe tonight.
You never know, because they're big. I mean, I've saw them play at Crest. Ashbrook has got the size. They've got speed with the Carmelo Best, the running back. I think he's either leading that conference in rushing or he's second in rushing. It's one of those things. It's like all Ashbrook needs just a little momentum, and you never know what could happen down there at Kings Mountain or against Kings Mountain.
Well, Shannon, let me preface this remarks. I am not a member of any chat boards or anything, but about this time of the year when we're progressing towards the playoffs, the guys down east, whether it's Havelock or some of those others, start squawking about how much, how good their teams are and how they're just going to whoop everybody and win the state. And the comments are like, well, Crest hadn't played anybody and South Point's not any good. They can't do such and such.
Right. They've
not seen these teams play. You take a team that hasn't played a South Point.
Oh, yeah.
And you step up to the line against those guys who've got size. And let's face it, their technique is something that you don't practice against because you never see it down in certain parts of the country. It's hard enough. We're beginning to get used to it after 25 or 30 years here.
I don't think you get used to that. The way they block is incredible.
But let's suppose you're a lineman on, New Hanover, and you're playing South Point. You hadn't seen anything like that. They'll run all over you. Right. And so all these Eastern teams that beat their chest like, Godzilla and talk about how good they are, and they get down to it and, we're going to whoop y'all and this, that, and the other. And I go back to Havelock a few years back in the state championship game about how good they were. We won state championships and we're coming in and we got all these players and this, that, and the other. And they made videos and
made a rap video, didn't they? I think that's what it was.
Crest showed up and showed out.
Yeah. And
that can happen with a lot of the teams in the West. And the reason is what you say. Look at who you've played during the year. South Point, they play a tough schedule because they play all the teams in this conference. Yeah. Right. Shelby and Burns have some what I'd call lollipop games. Mm-hmm. Because they just lick them and keep on going. But from this standpoint, when you get down to this time of the year, look at who else Shelby's played. Look at who else Burns has played. Even the county teams. Yeah. There's no guaranteed wins there. Right. And that's the question I think we've had about East Lincoln is who have you played? Yeah. Great team, great defense. Kevin points that out. Offense. Skilled quarterback, great receivers, running backs, all that. But who have you played?
Yeah, and again with that little poll, right? That don't mean nothing to me. I mean, I just did it for fun, but still, East Lincoln may be that good. I don't know. I just haven't seen them play.
Are they better than Kings Mountain?
Yeah,
I don't know. Right now, I might give them the heads up. Yeah, a battle right today between East Lincoln and Kings Mountain. I might take East Lincoln to win.
Can you imagine that game with East Lincoln? They've got to either play Kings Mountain, Crest, or South Point at some point in time within the next 3-4 weeks.
Can they beat them all? And the answer is attrition. No, they can't.
That's
well,
be tough.
if they end up in the 1 seed, they only have to beat one of them.
Yeah. Well,
you never know. Crest might
they'll have to beat Crest, but they won't have to beat. If they get the 1 seed, they won't have to beat Kings Mountain.
They have to beat 2 of them, right?
Do what?
Will they have to beat 2 of them?
No. If you're the 1 seed, you'll just have to beat whoever the 4 seed will be in your conference.
That's right, because the other 2 will be on the other. Yeah,
the 2 and 3 will be on the other side.
That's right.
So Kings Mountain and East Lincoln wouldn't play probably. I'm guessing unless the state puts one of them in a 3 seed until the the state final. But one of them's going to have to beat South Point. One of them's going to have to beat Crest, if not the same one. And whoever gets that 2 seed. That's what I'm saying. I don't know what the state's going to weigh. Because East Lincoln, looking at their schedule, they play 1 2A school. But see, the state, the way they weigh those rankings is weird. It's not based on, I don't know how they do it.
Well, Kevin, what's Dudley's record so far?
They're in a bad. I think they're down this year.
Yeah, they're supposed to be down, but their guys, they're badder than bad. But let's suppose a Dudley plays at East Lincoln and knocks them off.
Yeah.
It goes to what Shannon and I have been talking about. Who have you played? Dudley's record may be terrible, but look who they've played. Maybe they've played some competition that is much better than what East Lincoln is engaged in.
Trying to find your high school football rankings and then look up who the ones that were.
Is Hickory 3A or are they 2A?
They're 3.
They're 3.
3A.
Yeah, that's another team in there.
I mean,
Right. So there's your the top 4 teams in ours are East Lincoln.
Oh, that's right.
Kings Mountain,
Okay.
South Point, and
Yeah.
Hickory. But Hickory's 6-2. East Lincoln beat them 28-12. That's why honestly, to me, looking at these teams and what we've seen over the years, Kings Mountain, East Lincoln, Shelby, and Burns are your 4 teams that I think can contend for a state championship. I think the rest of them are in the playoffs for fun, and we'll see how far they can go.
give us those 4 teams again so we can get it on record.
Kings Mountain, East Lincoln, Shelby, and Burns.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
I
we'll
see that.
State championship. Now, I'm not talking about, you'll get to the 3rd or 4th, but I'm talking about we might see one, if not all 4 of those teams, or we really can't see all 4. See two of those 4 teams in the state championship.
I can see that.
I was thinking the 8 splits like we had.
No, not anymore.
No. So 2 of those 4 teams, I think, we could see a final Kings Mountain, East Lincoln, Shelby, Burns final.
Could this be the year that the Mountaineers finally, after 100 years, get that first championship trophy?
No.
And that's the
Also,
thing about
what you going to do when Chase ends up on the other side? Like, say we also don't know how the brackets, like you're talking about, come out. So let's say Chase comes in on one side of the bracket, and then they don't have to play anybody hard at all, and then Shelby, Burns, and West Lincoln
End up playing one
and
another.
Maiden are all on the same side of a bracket, or Lincoln. You just don't know, and somebody could get knocked off. So I just from what I've seen, I think those 4 have a good chance. Maiden may. I don't think I've seen enough of them in person. I got to see them beat somebody in the playoffs, beat a Cleveland County team in the playoffs before I lean towards them on that. I don't think South Point's already proven they're not going to win it. They got handled by Kings Mountain. Kings Mountain handled Crest. Kings Mountain handled Burns. Good thing for Burns, they don't have to play them in the playoffs. So Kings Mountain East, I think that's what we're looking at. So Shannon, my top 10, I got you there. Best Mercedes number 1. Is that where you went?
That's exactly, yeah.
Had you even noticed
read
that
my
yet?
mind, dude. Yeah, I saw you put that.
Okay, I was just wondering if you was paying any attention. Who's
It's a
number
fa-
1?
it's a
Hey,
fantasy
I'll
league.
tell you what, Bessemer City saw them 2 weeks ago. Shelby went up there. I mean, I know they have a smaller team, or not as many kids out there on the field, but I like it quarterback, and they've got a couple guys that can tote the mail if they get in open space, and so that's another team. Once they get into the playoffs, what can they do?
I think 1A might be able to scare somebody. Our biggest issue at Bessemer, Shannon, you're talking about, you like the quarterback, the wide receivers can run, the running backs, everybody out there can run.
They got athletes, yeah.
We don't have, and we talk about this depth at line.
Yeah.
And when you get up and play, what is this, East Surrey that's won like 47 championships, you play one of them, that's when that comes to having an issue.
Well, Kevin, I want to bring up a subject we've talked about before, and I've gotten some comments from various people about, well, y'all are out in left field. I give you the Crest JV game last night.
Mm-hmm.
Hunter Hush showed up. They had 14 players that were dressed out, ready to play. I think some sickness and some injuries and various things. They had 14 players. You got to go both ways. I mean, Johnny breaks his leg. Well, limp back in there, son. And here's the other kicker. Over in the visiting stands, you could count the people who came to support Huss on one hand. There were 5 of them. 5 fans. I guess that's why we can't broadcast these on YouTube, Kevin. We're taking that gate away.
Yeah, from Huss. Those lines out there in Kings Mountains. It's amazing to me they stay 3A schools the way they do and haven't. But Cleveland County's got to, folks in Cleveland County got to, what if your teams were broke up into 9-10 schools?
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Like, what would we be talking about here?
Or what if we had like McDowell County or some others, one school in the county,
and do a 5A or 4A, whatever it is. All right, we got to take a break, JP. We're way past time for that. Let's we'll get JP doing some work. Look at him. Listen, sitting up. Hey, JP. All right, we'll be back in just a few minutes. KDCBroadcasting.com.
Witherspoon Insurance Agency in Shelby has been serving families across Shelby and Cleveland County. And today, Wayne Witherspoon continues the tradition of bringing you the best insurance at the best possible price. With names like The Hartford, Safeco, Progressive, National General, and Travelers. Drop by the office today at 125 North Lafayette Street in Shelby and talk with one of their friendly hometown agents. Witherspoon Insurance Agency, your independent insurance agency since 1986.
The Renaissance Festival is back Saturdays and Sundays, October 1st through November 20th. No! Tickets limited. Save your dates while supplies last. No! Gates open at 9:30 a.m. Arrive early. Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com. Don't miss it! Don't miss the Renaissance Festival! Sponsored by Visit Lake Norman. Visit Lake Norman, the lakeside of Charlotte. Huzzah!
The public inspection files of WHS, WLON, and WCSL are located at the studios at 1416 Shelby Highway in Cherryville. WHS, WCSL, and WLON are owned and operated by KTC Broadcasting Incorporated. WHS, WCSL, WLON do not discriminate against any qualified applicant, regardless of race, color, religion, national origin, age, or sex. For more information, you may call 704-482-1390 or email us at info@ktcbroadcasting.com. WHS Shelby, WLON Lincolnton, WCSL Cherryville, Gastonia.
You work hard every day to provide for yourself and your family. Why not let someone else help out every now and then? As your local Farm Bureau insurance agent, that's why I'm here, for peace of mind, and to help you to protect what matters most to you in Cleveland County. I'm Burke Costner. Call me at 704-482-2436 for a quick auto, home, or life insurance quote, and to learn more about how Farm Bureau Insurance can save you time and money. Be sure to ask for me, Burke Costner, 704-482-2436.
Call Bert Costner, your local Farm Bureau insurance agent, today.
Built upon a solid foundation of cast iron and steel, the Kubota L-Series is part of our under 100 horsepower tractor lineup rated #1 for reliability. They feature powerful Kubota diesel engines and easy operation. The durable Kubota L-Series. Talk to your local Kubota dealer today to schedule a demo. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Your Kubota dealer is Parker Farm Service, located at 126 Bessie Drive on Oak Grove Road at the Highway 74 bypass in Kings Mountain. The automobile rates have never been better than now at Reed Lindsay State Farm Insurance Agency in Shelby. If you're in the market for automobile insurance, now is the time to see Reed Lindsay State Farm Insurance. Their mission is to help people manage the risk of everyday life and help you recover from the unexpected and realize your dreams. You'll find a friendly staff that will work hard for you and your insurance needs. From auto to home to property to life insurance and more, see Reed Lindsay State Farm Insurance Agency, 1671 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby, open 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, online at reedlindsay.com. There's no use to be cold this coming winter. Head on into Today's Pro in Shelby for warmth and comfort. From gas logs to fireplaces to inserts and more, with name brands like Empire, Monessen, and Buck Stove. Be ready for old man winter today with a stop at Today's Pro in Shelby. And they also do service calls. And don't forget they fill those propane cylinders. Just call 704-600-8393. 704-600-8393. Today's Pro, 1325 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. Online at thetodayspro.com.
Cakes and cookies, toys and gifts, Christmas at your fingertips. It's the shopping event of the season, the Southern Christmas Show, November 10th through 20th at the Park Expo and Conference Center. Enjoy a winter wonderland and find the magic of the season with frosty decor galore. Plus, shop hundreds of booths to find one-of-a-kind gifts for everyone on your list. Buy early and save on tickets at southernchristmasshow.com.
Let's go to the Southern Christmas Show.
Since 1986, Witherspoon Insurance Agency in Shelby has been serving families across Shelby and Cleveland County. And today, Wayne Witherspoon continues the tradition of bringing you the best insurance at the best possible price. With names like The Hartford, Safeco, Progressive, National General, and Travelers. Drop by the office today at 125 North Lafayette Street in Shelby and talk with one of their friendly hometown agents. Witherspoon Insurance Agency, your independent insurance agency since 1986.
Over 1,000 pre-owned vehicles are available at Classic Volkswagen in Gastonia. They probably have the vehicle you've been looking for. And right now, make no payment for 60 days on the new or used vehicles. And now, take $500 off any new or used vehicle when you mention this radio ad. Yes, this radio ad is worth $500. Be sure to mention it when you arrive at Classic Volkswagen in Gastonia. Located at 4417 Wilkinson Boulevard in Gastonia. Online at classicvwgastonia.com. See their page at whatsupshopper.com and like them on Facebook too.
This is Senator Ted Alexander.
And I'm Brad Overcash, candidate for the State Senate in Gaston County.
And we approve this message. While we both have no direct opponent during the November 8th election, we do need your help voting for judges at every level in North Carolina to uphold the common sense conservative laws we pass and you have voted for regarding voter ID, capping the state income tax, and election integrity.
All of North Carolina needs your support by backing Trey Allen and Rich Dietz for the State Supreme Court, and Donna Stroud, John Tyson, Michael Stadding, and Julie Flood for the Court of Appeals.
These candidates will not legislate from the bench. Instead, they will interpret the law as written.
And for the listeners in Gaston County, please support conservative judicial candidate Justin Davis for Superior Court.
Early voting starts October 20th for the November 8th election. Paid for by Friends of Ted Alexander
and the Overcash Committee.
Thanks and God bless you.
The 30th anniversary sale continues at Essener Auto Sales in Shelby. Come check them out all year long with some great anniversary specials. Find out how easy it can be for you to be one of their satisfied customers. Yes, 30 years ago, Susie and Richie started Essener Auto Sales, striving to give you the best deal possible on a quality pre-owned vehicle. See them today at 417 South Post Road in Shelby, online at srautosales.com. See their page at whatsupshopper.com and like them on Facebook too. That's Essener Auto Sales in Shelby.
And welcome back to the Witherspoon Insurance of Shelby pregame show with Dennis, Shannon, and Kevin. I don't know if they know that we're back yet or not, but anyhow, I mean, I'm gonna keep talking until they get on the air. I mean,
all right, JP,
there we go.
There we go. He gets excited. Welcome back to the broadcast. High school football. One of our listeners, Shannon, doesn't like your poll or my poll. One of them talking about the Chase Trojans. We won't know where Chase are.
And what would he do?
Well, we had him at 8. We had him. I got him. You know, the math, Dennis.
Yeah.
The math has them at 6. Shannon's opinion has them at 7. I mean, Shannon, you got them behind South Point, Shelby, Crest, East Lincoln, Burns, and well, we had him at Bessemer, but I've messed with Shannon on that one. And of course, he had Kings Mountain number 1. But I mean, honestly, I love Chase, and I know you do too. But right now, like, I don't know how you'd put them ahead of any of those teams right there.
Well, that's the question. Who do they beat to move up?
I guess if your opinion is you think they may have a better team than Shelby this year, though, Shannon, you can't put them ahead of them until they actually beat them, I would say, after 60, whatever it is. But anyway, welcome back to the Witherspoon Insurance of Shelby. Well, we think Chase is going to be a pretty good team in the 2A. I just don't think they're going to win the state championship, if that's what he's referring to.
They'll be a dangerous team to play in the playoffs.
Right.
There's no doubt about
I've
that.
seen so many of these teams and went to all these state championships in person, and you see the teams you see, and you know the defenses. Number one, I'm looking at these defenses, and then after that, you've got to be able to put 30 points on the board as well each week. And so 2 of those combinations I'm looking at, and then it's just the fact that then now, Dennis, you've reduced it, like we said, from 8 to 4 champions. You've cut out so much. Like, you used to think, hey, I get to the 3rd round every year, now you might not get out of the first or second round because you're playing that same team that you would be in the third round. So people haven't taken that into account either. The playoffs are tougher now than they've ever been.
Doesn't matter if you're a big 2 like Shelby and Burns, or you're a little 2.
So you got Burns, Shelby, Chase, Maiden, West Lincoln there in the 2A. There's your 5 solid ones right there. Then Lincoln and West will play next week. We'll have that's going to be a great game.
Well, let me say this
conference.
for that guy that was commenting about that.
Yeah.
When you look at the 2A, those 3 teams you mentioned, Burns, Shelby, and even Chase, now I think those will be the top 3 teams out of this. I don't know how they break them down, anymore, but
they don't.
Like you got the regional crowd and things like that.
They're all in the same thing now.
They're not broken down by West, Midwest. So Burns, Shelby, and Chase, I think, are the top 3 teams in this area. Now, 2 of those teams or maybe one of those teams, I don't know how it's going to work, but yeah, you're going to have one of these guys going to play Reedsville. You're going to have to go play even Lincolnton. You're going to have to go to West Lincoln, and that's going to be
all right. So I'm looking at the 2As right now. So let's just say this is where let's say this is where
Monroe
the rankings are, where they end up in. I don't know if this is actual. I'll pull it up on the standings. I'm sure you guys want to see that too. I'm over here like it's my secret or something. There's your this is Max Prep's rankings. Okay, so they've got Burns at 1, Monroe 2, East Surrey 3, Reedsville 4, Chase 5, Forest Hill 6, Robertson. Now this is playoff, so this is where. So that's why Shelby's down here. I think at 10. I think this is where it would be. But Maiden 8. So that just looking at that, Shannon, that you were asking about who's going to win the state or who you're competing with. You're competing with Monroe now in the 2A. Now they've been in 3A for a while. They've dropped down. Then Reedsville and Forest Hills, Robinson, Maiden, Rose Hill, and Shelby. Those are your top.
Scroll down 8, 9, and 10. I want to see the numbers.
Oh, you can't see those.
If you look at the far right column, if you're going to go back up to the top,
okay,
I think that would be strength of schedule, correct? It has strength. I don't know, or STR. Is that what that means?
Who knows what that is in the end?
Well, the reason
there's no cliff notes over here.
Okay. So you look at like Forest Hills and Chase both had 14.4, 14.7. Wallace Rose Hill 12.3. If you go down below Shelby, you had a team that had a very high number.
Shelby's -2.7.
-2.7.
Burns is 0.2.
Okay.
Maybe that's
right.
maybe that
I
is
don't know.
the hard, because you would think they've got an easier Burns and Shelby definitely have easier schedules.
Yeah, but is it the closer to Z? I don't know how that works.
The rating is the one in the middle. That's the one that's in order, Shannon.
Okay, there we go.
So
I didn't even pay attention to that one.
Yeah, the rating is the one that's in actual order. I don't know what the STR means. So if you're wondering, learn more about the rankings. Well, Football Rankings Explained, Shannon. Max Prep does not poll coaches, sports writers, or fans, or does make any judgments in the merits of individual teams. So this is y'all getting mad at me about this stuff. Yeah. Sorry, you guys can't read it there. It's kind of crooked. I was reading it. It was perfectly fine under mine. For example, a team's rankings hurt more by losing to a team that is ranked below them than a team ahead of them. The system utilizes the huge number of games results stored in Max Prep's database. Generally, the more team wins, the higher the ranking. However, the system takes into account quality wins against other highly ranked opponents and strength of schedule. Other factors will affect the rankings are times when Max Preps has incomplete or inaccurate information. We will correct errors when they report to us. Playoff wins are weighted higher than regular season wins, blah, blah, blah. So there you go. It didn't really explain anything.
Just filled a page.
That's all it did. I agree. It just filled a page there, Shannon. All right, so anyway, there's our football standings. However you want to look at that for the rankings. Let me get back to I guess I can go back to it. So there's your 2A. Let me pull up your 1 and 3s for you. Let's go over to the 3. Well, where did the 3As? How do you do that more? 3A, Kings Mountain at 1, Northern Nash at 2, South Point, they got a raked ahead of East Lincoln. I don't think so. 71st, Rose, Oak Grove, Havelock, Smithfield, and then Crest is there at 10. No other local teams in the top 25. West Mac, West Charlotte there at 17.
Well, the question has come up in some of these questions about the East, like Smithfield, Selma. Who have they beat?
I don't know. They got some good hams, though.
Takes one to know one.
Yeah, that's what I hear. Yeah, you're right though. Who have they beat? Who have they played? And we can sit here and argue all day long about who's the better team.
Selma is 8-0. They've given up 95
Well, that's an
points on the
impressive
season.
looking
They've beat
record.
Princeton, Nash Central, North Johnston, South Johnston, Hunt, Fike, West Johnston, Southern Wayne. They play Aycock tonight, who's 8-0 as well.
Oh, that'd be a big game.
Big game. Let's see if Aycock's on here. Are they 4A? Because they're not ranked on here. Must be. No, 23rd. The Aycock is 23rd at 8-0. So, Dennis, they don't think Aycock's played anybody. They believe the Smithfield Hams have played a few better teams, but there you go. I don't know about South Point being ahead of East Lincoln right now after seeing South Point get beat by Kings Mountain the way they did. Ugh.
Well, what would that bring for Kings Mountain versus East Lincoln then?
I don't know. This definitely isn't playoffs. It's just the rankings because the seeds, the division winners get the seeds. So,
the last time I checked, Kevin,
yep,
down on that little field down there with the white lines on it, as Andy Griffith said, in football is what it was. You got to line up, and it's who gets that little pigskin and gets it down the field. And some of these on paper ratings don't necessarily translate into that on the field play.
Well, like Shannon was just saying, Shannon they got Bessemer City at 21. So that means they'd be playing about 11 seed. If you're Starmount or Hayesville at 5-3, do you want to really see them as a 21 seed?
Yeah, I mean,
that 2-7, it's going to look like they're in those 3 losses are East Gaston, Burns, and Shelby.
Yeah. You're right. I mean, that makes a difference. And
they also got beat by Kramer. Community School of Davis, everybody's like, so who are they? Well, did you get our standings over, Shannon?
Community School of Davidson's had a great year.
7-1. Pine Lake Prep, they got beat by them. They're 8-0. So they've got beat by Community School of Davidson, Kramer, Pine Lake Prep, and then lost by 1 at Christ the King, who's also 7-1. So 22-2 between those 3 losses out of conference. Then Burns is 7-1, and Shelby's 5-3. So all the teams that's beat them.
So the weak link in that is Shelby.
Yeah. So all the teams that's beat them are.
Well, they beat Shelby. They ain't played nobody.
Every team that's beat Bessemer but Stuart Kramer has at least 7 wins on the season, Shannon. So that's what I'm saying. When these teams, these 1A teams, see them coming, it might have a first round upset up there in the mountains. All right, we got that taken care of, and our broadcast tonight. Let's go over those real quick for tonight's broadcast. Of course, the Red Zone Radio begins at 7:30 tonight, live on YouTube. We'll have video coverage from Cherville and Burns. We'll have highlights. Let me put some X's on. We'll have highlights from East Gaston at Shelby with Shannon Allen. We'll have highlights of Lincolnton and Maiden with Mason Bean. We'll have highlights of Ashbrook and Kings Mountain with R.J. Roop. Rob Roop will be at Crest and Hunter Huss. And Brian Nichols has the night off with Bessemer City having the night off. Brian, if you wanted to work, I guess you could have called me.
What are our broadcast games, Kevin?
So our broadcasts tonight are on Waggy. We've got East Rutherford at Polk County tonight with Paul Foster and Jonathan Bland. On WH, that's a 107.5 FM over in Cleveland County, folks. In Lincoln County, that's not what you'll hear. In Shelby, Cleveland County, you'll hear Crest and Huss on 101.5 FM. No, I said that wrong. I said that right. No, I was totally saying that wrong. East Gaston at Shelby is on East Gaston. Okay, put him on. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. So Crest, we'll have highlights from Crest and Huss and highlights from Ashbrook and Kings Mountain. We'll broadcast East Gaston Shelby with Brent Pascoe and Jeff Jones. They'll have that covered. Shannon will be over there as well. And then finally, Cherville Ironman tonight for you Cherville folks on 92.9 FM, 1590 AM. Will be at the Burns Bulldogs tonight. You can watch that on YouTube with Tom Sinafani, Matt Royster, Tanner Halbert, and more on KTC Broadcasting here tonight. All right, let's see. JP's hitting some buttons. JP, we got a caller on the line?
Yes.
Caller, who we got?
Hello. Hey, Kevin. It's Coach Harold from Cherville.
Hey, Coach. JP, I'm trying to read his notes. He said something about you might be able to explain the Max Preps ratings.
Yeah, I was just going to try to see, are you looking at the Max Preps RPI ranking on the High School Athletic Association website?
I was actually on the Max
Or you just look at...
I was on Max Preps.
Okay. So the way the state has changed it now, changed it last year, about 5 weeks into the season, they come up with these RPI ratings based on your winning percentage, your opponent's winning percentage, and then your opponent's winning percentage.
Right.
And if you at a computer right now?
Yeah.
Type in North Carolina High School Athletic Association football, and that's going to take you to the High School Athletic Association football page.
Okay.
And then you're going to see like a little rectangular box that says Max Preps RPI ranking.
So football, Max Preps RPI ranking. All right. I got
yes,
it.
sir.
And we'll go over to the
And then it says choose classification.
Yep.
And you can choose, say, whichever one you want to go. 2A West.
I pulled the 1A West up for you guys right there.
1A West is fine.
So Eastern Randolph,
so then
Murphy, Andrews, Mount Airy, Christ the King.
Yeah, so then they base it on, different scenarios and they put like certain percentages that it's worth for your winning percentage, and it's just as important your opponent's. What's tough is your opponent's winning percentage is calculated in there because, Shelby can't determine who Cherville plays in non-conference, or Burns can't determine who East Gaston plays in non-conference, or Bessemer City can't determine who anybody else plays. But so then those rankings come out, and they're updated every hour on that website. So as soon as somebody changes their record or puts a record in, these bump up or down.
Okay.
And this is what the seeding would then go on.
So
but
you got your
say in our conference, a 1A, 2A split conference, whoever wins that conference, say Bessemer City gets the 1 seed, even though they're finishing down there 3rd or 4th, they're still going to bump up in the top 8 because they would be seeded as a 1.
Hey, do you know?
But everybody else is going to be seeded down below that, just like it's listed.
Is there 8 1A conferences? Do you know that off the top of your head?
No, I do not know exactly how many. Then I'm wanting to think 9 in the West for 1A.
Okay.
But don't hold me to that.
Right, it's somewhere in there. Yeah.
Yes. So volleyball, soccer, basketball, baseball, all are the same. Now, really, in volleyball, basketball, these Max Preps ratings on this RPI changes hourly because people are just updating their schedules and updating their record, when they're at school or wherever else. And those things really flip-flop. But this is the website that they'll do all your rankings on for playoff seeding purposes.
Gotcha.
So you can see a big difference in these than what you actually see on the Max Prep site.
Okay.
Yeah, there is a big difference.
Yeah, we're looking at Bessemer was 21 in the first one. They're 19 on the RPI stuff, and then I don't remember
where was Shelby on the first one.
Shelby was 10th.
Shelby, let's see, they were 10th on the first one. I had to click back over and go.
Yeah, and this one they're 21st.
Ooh.
Yeah, if they don't win the conference, they're going to have to travel.
Yeah, 21st. You're right. With Westland,
they will have to travel if they don't win the conference, and that's based on because say a Shelby plays a Cherville, a Bessemer, and a Highland Tech, and a Thomas Jefferson with a low winning percentage and a low opponent's winning percentage. So hence it hurts their ranking in there.
But do you really want to see them coming?
Well, it helps. It actually helps when Cherville plays a Shelby, and like Cherville, we're playing Burns tonight because we're playing higher opponent, that ranking. We're playing their opponent's winning percentage may be better. So tonight, ours will go up, win or lose.
Okay.
But if you're a team
but
and you see Shelby coming in to play you because they're ranked so low, is that
I'm not liking that if I'm in the playoffs.
Right now, Shelby at 21 would be against the 11-ish team that's looking like Salisbury, Hendersonville, Forest Hills, or J.M. Robinson.
Right.
That's if they don't win the conference.
Right. Burns is at the 3. Burns is
top,
ranked at 3 right now. Shelby at 21. If you just for the folks in Cleveland County want.
But then you would have to drop, say, a Maiden or Bunker Hill, whoever doesn't win their conference.
Right.
You know, you're going to drop them out of that bottom 9 because all the 1 seeds would be seeded first.
Right. For the Chase fans out there, you guys are 6th right now. Maiden 7, Bunker Hill 8.
Is this Scott?
I just wanted Kevin give y'all that information so y'all can look every week and see what the state's going to look at when they seed.
Hey, Scott.
They don't look at Max Prep's ranking anymore. They look at that RPI ranking on their state website.
So let me ask you a question. So that top, if you win the conference and to seed 1 through 8, let's say there's 8 in the 2A. I'm just looking about 2A here, or we can do 1A to 1. So
No, 2A's fine.
Okay, so if you win,
however many conferences are in the West, then you'd get the 1 seed, no matter where your ranking is.
Okay, where would they rank you in that 1 through 9? Does that base off of this?
Yeah.
This here. Okay.
It's based off of this. Yes.
Okay.
Everything reverts back to that.
Let's say if you're looking at 2A and Burns is number 3, and they win the conference, they would stay at 3.
Gotcha.
But let's take, for example, Shelby beats Burns next week, and Shelby wins the conference. Shelby would jump into that top 8 or 9 when it comes to seeding purposes.
Yeah.
And Burns then would drop from 3 for seeding purposes, say down to 10, the next available spot after all those 1 seeds are seeded.
That makes sense. Okay. Yeah.
A lot of fuzzy
But
math, Coach.
it'll be pretty easy to figure it out if you find out what conferences are in the West and East, and all those are listed on the state website as well. But it's a pretty neat thing. You can track it pretty well on here, but it's totally different than your regular Max Preps ranking once y'all have time to look over that.
Yep.
Is it going to be according to East and West? How are they going to determine who's East and who's West? Are we going to have...
That's already predetermined going into every year now. There's not a line that breaks out. There's already a predetermined line, and those conference lines are on somewhere on the state website. If I was sitting at a computer, I'd be able to tell you that, but I'm up here getting ready to go in the game at Burns.
Okay.
Well, we thank you, Coach, for giving us that information. That helps out a lot tremendously.
Yeah, man. I know how you do your ranking, so maybe while you look at this during the week and stuff, and you start studying it, and you really see where teams are going to break down and where they'll be.
All right, Coach. Well, good luck tonight up at Burns.
Y'all have a good evening. Thanks for covering high school sports.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, bye-bye.
Coach Scott Harrell, basketball coach and athletic director at Cherryville High School. He's up at Burns tonight for a big game with the Bulldogs. So this is the 3A. We just pulled it up. They've got Southwind at 2.
They got West Henderson at 5. On the other one, they were like 20-something.
Yeah. Wow. East Lincoln's at 6. Crest at 9. Hickory down to 14. Stuart Kramer at 3 and 5, guys, is number 16.
It's all in who you've played.
At 3 and 5. Wow. And he's right. That's what Coach was talking about. Yeah. Their opponent, let's say they've got to have one of the best opponents win. It won't let you order. You should be able to click on it. That's my one complaint about the website. I should be able to reorder to see who's got the hardest opponent schedule. Right now, Irwin at 64% or 65%, and Kramer's opponent's win percentage is 64% right now. So those are the highest opponents' win percentages in the 3A. Ashboro's at 64. Actually, Montgomery Central, 69% of their opponents win 70%. So it's your win percentage, opponent's win percentage, and opponent's win percentage, and then you average them out, Dennis. And that gives you this fuzzy. Yeah, now y'all thought my math was fuzzy. All I did was
this
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, this is MIT stuff here, Dennis. I got to start taking off my shoes to count on this.
But anyway, Coach is right. So just for example, Kings Mountain, you could be hosting North Henderson. But that's what in the 2A, that's what we were just talking about when those jump around. That's going to be very interesting around here in this 2A, guys.
Can you imagine the next week, the post-game show, after some of the scores have come in and we're trying to say, well, now he could go over here. And then on Saturday, you know how they traditionally do that. They have the early 2 o'clock, and then they have the revisions about 4 or 5 o'clock. And to be quite honest, we can't tell you.
That's 100% true. All right, let's real quick, guys. Let's pick. I want y'all to pick some of these games. Just pick the top. Well, I'm gonna do the 1As, and then we're gonna pick some we got to go through really quick. I'll give you the ones to go. Let's go Cherville at Burns tonight. Ironman up at Bulldogs on WCSL and YouTube.
I think it's a big, as Coach Harrell said, win or lose, Cherville's they're gonna move up in the ranks. We're gonna talk about rankings, but Burns homecoming up there tonight, and I think it's homecoming. Burns should win this one. I got it 63-10 over Cherville.
Okay, I'm agreeing with you on that one. Burns is going to show out tonight, and I hate to do this to some good folks, but Danny Aker, clear your throat. It's going to be 72-12.
Jefferson at Highland Tech tonight. Shannon, Jefferson last week beats Cherville and surprised a lot of us. We thought Jefferson might be the down year, but now they got a chance to be the top 1A seed out of this conference.
Yeah, after going winless in the first 7 weeks, I think they'll continue winning tonight. I got them 35-14 over Highland. Chase Gibbons, their quarterback, Holden Weatherford's their running back. So Thomas Jefferson just trying to build for next year.
So Jefferson beat Jefferson by a lot, but then they turned around and beat Cherville. So if Cherville wins next week, then we got to.
Well, I agree with Shannon in that Jefferson is getting better, but then so is Highland Tech. So I have this one 28-21 Jefferson.
East Gaston at Shelby tonight. Shannon.
Oh,
not
Shannon.
Shannon's sneeze, man.
Right,
Shannon's going to defer to me on this one. Is that your opinion of the game?
No, sneezing. There's something there tore my allergies.
Well, I'm going to favor the Shelby Lions in this one over the East Gaston Warriors. They're not going to score 72 this week against the East Gaston Warriors. They're only going to score 62, and the East Gaston Warriors are going to score 21.
Yeah, I think Shelby will have no problem. I got it 56-21. Also, congratulations to Keith Hamilton, the wide receiver for Shelby, got Shrine Bowl nod this week.
All right, East Rutherford at Polk County.
Oh, you want me to start?
Yeah,
that one?
start it. Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to go with Coach Ollis on this one. I'm going to go that they've got a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, and they're going to roll it out, and it's going to be Polk County 34, East Rutherford 10.
I know we got a lot of good running backs in the area, but I saw Angus Weaver last week against Chase, a big physical line, and Chase couldn't stop him in the first half. Angus Weaver's the real deal. He's not a big kid, but he's tough. And I think Polk County wins this one 56-13 behind Weaver running the ball.
All right. Lincolnton at Maiden. Lincoln could be undefeated in this conference. It wasn't for a 2-point call, safety call, missed safety, or whatever it was. Shannon?
Yeah, they could. I think, this game here, a lot of people probably say Maiden just because of their record being 7-1 and they're playing at home, but Lincoln's got a lot of momentum right now. And I think I like what they're doing. I think they're going to go up there and shock the biggest little football town in the world, whatever it's called, and 28-27. 28-24, Lincoln over Maiden.
Au contraire, mon frere. I'm going with the Maiden Blue Devils 42, the Lincolnton Wolves 14.
East Burke at West Lincoln tonight on KTC Broadcasting. East Burke looking for their first conference win. West Lincoln trying to hold on to that 3 seed, maybe get a 2. Shannon?
Mason Avery, that's the guy. That's the big guy right now on campus for West Lincoln past 2 weeks. As he goes, West Lincoln's going to go. He's going to run slap wild all over East Burke, 42-14.
Well, we're close. I've got it 38-13, West Lincoln.
Last week he set the school record. I think the final tally was like 297.
Yeah,
for in a single game.
And he didn't make the Shrine Bowl.
No. Ashbrook at Kings Mountain tonight. Ashbrook's give a couple teams some scares, South Point and Crest. Can they scare Kings Mountain at all, Shannon?
Well, they're big enough. They've got a big physical line, but the problem is they just can't call the right plays, in my opinion. But they're going into a team that's playing really good right now at home. They've got a lot of momentum. Kings Mountain should easily win 49-7. But I think Carmelo Best is going to get over 100 yards for Ashbrook running the ball.
Well, I've got it a little closer than with Kings Mountain winning 28-14.
All right. Do Crest at Huss tonight. Husky, we'll have highlights of that with Rob Roop, Shannon.
Well, Crest, they've got a very they're I think they only have like 5 seniors on the team, and all their skilled people will be back next year. But they're building out. They're having a very successful year. I think they will be able to handle Husk pretty easily, 49-21. But it's all going to come down to Natavius Husky, their quarterback. As he played as well as he plays, if he has a good game, Crest is going to win easily. But if not, it's going to be a close game.
Well, don't be looking ahead. Kings Mountain comes to Crest next week. Don't be looking ahead, and I think they'll be focused, and it'll be Crest 52, Hunter Husk 10.
Don't forget about running back Aiden Carson for Crest. He's a nice surprise for them this year.
All right, JP, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll finish up the show, and we'll talk a little bit more. Here, we got one more prediction for Jeff Miller. Does the Varsity Jaguars upset South Point Knight real quick?
Nope.
Okay. We'll see you guys in just a few minutes. KDCBroadcasting.com.
Since 1986, Witherspoon Insurance Agency in Shelby has been serving families across Shelby and Cleveland County. And today, Wayne Witherspoon continues the tradition of bringing you the best insurance at the best possible price. With names like The Hartford, Safeco, Progressive, National General, and Travelers. Drop by the office today at 125 North Lafayette Street in Shelby and talk with one of their friendly hometown agents. Witherspoon Insurance Agency, your independent insurance agency since 1986.
Bayada Home Health Care continues to grow, and because of this growth, they are in need of new employees. See Bayada Home Health Care today and join their growing team of healthcare professionals with immediate opportunities in Gaston, Lincoln, and Cleveland counties. And they are COVID-19 compliant, taking all safety precautions possible with an experienced, trained staff. Just call 704-669-4000, 704-669-4000, or visit the website at bayada.com. Bayada Home Health Care. They love what they do.
Shop local this fall at Arnold's Jewelry and Gift Gallery. Whether shopping for birthdays, anniversaries, or the upcoming holidays, it's the place to go. Choose from their large selection of popular Citizen Echo Drive watches, or check out their quality diamond bands, pendants, and gold chains. Take advantage of their flexible layaway plan for those Christmas gifts, and get free gift wrapping too. Browse their gift gallery for new shipments of fall flags and home decor. Arnold's Jewelry and Gift Gallery, 228 South Washington Street, Shelby. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5:30, Saturday, 9 to 3. While there, register for the shopping spree. Check out their Facebook page or call 704-487-4521.
Shelby's CarQuest parts store is Shelby Auto Plus CarQuest, locally owned and operated. See Charles and Beth Cabinets, Lathan Queen, and Lisa McKinney for all of your auto parts needs. And Shelby Auto Plus CarQuest is your hydraulic hose headquarters. Also fittings to custom-made hoses. They want to help you with all of your automotive parts needs. Shelby Auto Plus CarQuest, 409 North Washington Street in Shelby. Give them a call today at 704-482-2468, your CarQuest Auto Parts store.
And we're back on the Witherspoon Insurance of Shelby pregame show with Kevin, Dennis, and Shannon.
We're here. All right, Coach Harold sent me a link, and I was actually pretty much already there looking at the 1As when he sent that. I did find the conference, how many there are. In the West, 3As, there's 10, and the 2As, 12, and the 1As, 11. So that's when all your number one seeds, all your conference champions will get those. Basically 11 conferences per class. If it just keep it in your.
So if you're a number 2 seed,
you're starting at 12.
That's what I was fixing to say. The best you can get is a 12.
So 12 through the 2 seeds will be 12 through 22. Then the 3 seeds will be 24, 45 and plus.
Let's just figuratively say that Kings Mountain wins, South Point second, Crest is third in that 3A. So you've got.
Gosh. Crest is they'll travel to somebody.
I'm looking at this. So if South Point is at best a 12 seed, where does that put Crest? At 11 down from that.
It'd be at 24.
In the
24
or 30.
seed.
Yeah.
Or 30, somewhere in that range.
Mm-hmm.
Or where are you going? You're going to go play somebody that's one of those top.
Y'all probably be 25-ish. So 25 you're getting because there's only 32, right?
Yeah.
So at 25 you're getting the 7 seed basically. And that's where you'll be. So you're getting 6 through 8 or 9, and in the 3A let's jump back over there real quick. Just had that up, folks at home. That's just not going to
Get
make
to
any
East
sense to
Lincoln.
y'all.
If they no, Kings Mountain.
Well, 6, 7, 8 is East Lincoln, Tuscola, West Row, but South Point's not going to be in that 2 seeds.
Right.
East Lincoln's going to end up in, I would say, 3, 4, 5. So 2, 3, 4, 5, somewhere in there. So you're going to get West Row and Northwest Cabarrus, Smoky Mountain, Dudley, Citrus Davis, Hickory. Here's your conferences. If you want to look at the conference.
Well, if East Lincoln gets a 3, 4, 5, and they put Crest at a 28, 29.
Somewhere.
Well, yeah,
Lord have
there's a
mercy.
chance. Crest and East Lincoln. That's what I was saying. Like, you're going to be playing a team in the first and second round because we've squeezed everybody down into 4 that you're normally making the second. West Lincoln beat South Point in the second round. Was it 2 years ago? When South Point was, or 3 years ago when South Point was in 2A?
During the spring season, wasn't it?
It might have been.
No, because Chase beat South Point. No, I don't know. Yeah, I think West, I don't know. Keep going.
Either way, West beat South Point at West Lincoln in a playoff game. And if I'd have told anybody that, 10, 15 years ago, they'd have told me I'd lost my mind. But West beat South Point at home, playoff game just a few years ago. So you could end up playing one of these top tier teams in first, second round. I mean, it's Dennis.
Okay.
Good luck with that.
Does Shelby end up then going back to West Lincoln or something like that?
Shelby, if they'll be.
They win tonight, they solidify at least second in that conference.
Right. So let's say they go 12, and then we'll. I know the folks at home. This is not making any sense when I'm clicking around. I need to get off that so you can just see tonight's artwork.
Well, they want to know who they're playing, and we hadn't played the game yet. Right.
That's what they want. They want to. So if you are, let's say, Shelby in the 2A West, and you end up in the, I would assume, Dennis. So 11. Let's say they end up anywhere from 12 to 22. So if you folks do the math, you'll be playing one of another 2 seed. So 1 seeds will play 3 seeds for the most part. Then all the 2s will be playing the other 2s.
Each other 2s, yeah.
But who's a 2 out there?
Yeah. Monroe, East Davis and Lincoln, West Stokes, West Lincoln,
I would be
North
concerned
Stanley,
about playing Monroe in the
Polk
first
County.
No doubt.
At Monroe.
Good. Well, if not Monroe, it'd be Forest Hills, and both of those are pretty good too. So, yeah, I don't know.
Now,
that's what it's supposed to be, though. That's what it's supposed to be.
They could be going to Hendersonville in round 1, and then get Chase in round 2.
Exactly.
So that's how that could work out there.
Well, in the words of Ric Flair,
to be the man, you got to beat the man.
There you go. There's my Flairologist.
I was hoping you wouldn't do Space Mountain because I was like, no, I don't do that one, Dennis.
Woo!
I can if my cousin Zach was in here, he knows every
jet flying, limousine riding, something. I don't remember all that. Yeah. Anyway,
go ahead. There's a reason Space Mountain
and
is the longest.
Commercial is he's doing now?
Is the longest line.
I thought he was dead. Is he still alive?
No, he's not dead.
Okay.
He's doing some commercial, and I thought that's Ric Flair.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's doing a commercial, and he goes into that.
I thought he was. I thought he got sick and died. I did. I didn't.
He got
I
sick and
follow
about
wrestling,
died.
But okay.
Yeah,
he got about like 4 times. It's happened a couple. He did have a couple close bouts, couple heart attacks in there.
That's because he left Charlotte and moved to Atlanta. Oh, traffic will kill you down there.
Yep. So real quick again, Dennis, if y'all just want to read over some of these local games, just skip around for a minute. I got to go down the hall and we'll get finished up here. JP, you can go ahead and start playing some music here in about a minute or two, and we'll get going. I got to go down and check on David Potter and the gang. So, Dennis, y'all got to go over some of the games still left tonight that we got to go to tonight.
Well, we've got several games here. We talked about tonight right here on the YouTube show. You can catch Cherryville and Burns with Tom Sinafani and Matt Royster. Thomas Jefferson takes on Highland Tech. Hayesville takes on the Cherokee Braves. Bishop McGinnis, I love their name here, the Villains. Yeah. You're a Catholic school and you call yourself the Villains. They're taking Winston-Salem Prep. And Carver is taking Mountain Island. And Community School of Davidson, which is very good this year, takes on Christ the King. Shannon?
Are we doing local or just doing all 1A?
Whatever you want to do.
Let's do local. East Gaston will be at Shelby. East Rutherford will be at Polk County. Lincolnton travels to Maiden. Newton Conover to Bunker Hill. West Caldwell will be at Bandy's. And East Burke at West Lincoln.
Okay. And that brings us to what could be a very testy game. Ashbrook versus Kings Mountain. Crest taking on Hunter Huss. East Gaston taking on Kramer. Hickory playing Fred T. Ford. St. Stephen's playing Statesville Greyhounds. And the North Lincoln Knights are taking on the West Iredell Warriors.
Forestfield will be at South Point, East Lincoln at North Iredell, Freedom at Watauga, High Brighton, Alexander Central, Lake Norman Charter at Pine Lake Prep, and McDowell travels to Irwin up in the mountains.
We've got the Brevard Blue Devils playing the Hendersonville Bearcats. The Chase Trojans taking on the Patton Panthers. East Surrey Cardinals playing the West Wilkes Blackhawks. North Surrey Greyhounds are taking on the Surrey Central Eagles. Madison Patriots are playing Mountain Heritage Cougars. And the North Wilkes Vikings play the Forbush Falcons.
All right, Robinsonville Black Knights at Andrews, Swain County. All these are up in the mountains. Swain County will be at Murphy. Avery County be at my friend Terry Grayson's favorite school, the Owen War Horses. Mountain Area at Elkin. What does it say? Bucking Elks?
Bucking Elks.
They're careful.
Big
Albemarle at Union County, and Rosman will be at Mitchell. So, Dennis, we got a lot of games, obviously in the area, but some big implications, because if you don't win some of these games this week, next week really doesn't mean much.
Well, the thing that I'm looking for tonight, Shannon, if some of these teams like Kings Mountain, who plays Crest next week, or Burns that plays Shelby next week, are looking ahead to next week and not focused on the game at hand tonight, there could be something lurking there with an upset. And if that happens, man, that really messes things up.
Yeah, but if it plays out like it's supposed to, those two games next week will be absolutely dynamic.
And on the pregame show, we'll discuss them in detail.
Yeah, absolutely.
With your vast knowledge of Shelby and my teeny tiny bit of knowledge about Crest. We'll talk about those.
No, it'll be fine. It'll be good. But yeah, that's and one thing I can say about Kings Mountain this year, probably more so than the past, they don't have that. They don't have a pace hour like they used to.
No,
they don't have that one guy.
It's more of a team.
It's a team, and I think that's why they're so dominant in what they're doing. And this could be their year. Really could.
Same thing with their defense.
Yeah.
It's not that one standout guy that's racking heads. It's a team effort on defense, team effort on offense.
Yeah.
Running back by committee.
Yeah, because they got three that Jeffries kid. I think he stepped up last week. That can really help them out. So behind Lamont Littlejohn III, Kings Mountain's really a really dominant football team and a dangerous football team, especially when they're playing at home. So
well said.
I think
JP, are you about ready?
Yep.
Fire away. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back next week.
Escape to the Renaissance Festival, Saturdays and Sundays.